So what if a nation was born not from unity, but from division? It's a strange idea, right? But it's actually the key to understanding a country that seems so peaceful and stable on the surface: Canada. We're going to dive into this because underneath all that calm is this incredible story of tension, rivalry, and, well, remarkable survival.
I mean, just think about it. How do you have two official languages echoing through the exact same streets, inside the same buildings, shaping everyday life?
And it goes even deeper than that. How can two totally distinct cultures, with different traditions, different values, how do they somehow manage to forge a single, shared national identity?
And here's maybe the biggest question of all. How can two separate histories, one of conquest, the other of survival, refuse to merge, yet still exist inside one nation? That's the puzzle we're going to piece together today. To get to the bottom of this, we have to look way beneath that calm Canadian surface. And our story, it starts long before the modern nation ever even existed.
The first thing you have to get is that this was never some empty land just waiting to be discovered. Nope. For thousands of years, it was home to complex and thriving societies.
And we're talking about a true living civilization. You had these vast networks of nations, their own systems of government, trade routes that stretched clear across the continent, and this incredibly deep spiritual connection to the land itself. This was the foundation. This was the first world.
And then a new world arrived. See, back in the 16th century, French ships, led by explorers like Jacques Cartier, they sailed up the St. Lawrence River. And they didn't just look around, they settled. And in doing so, they planted the seeds of a brand new society.
This settlement, it became known as New France. But, it wasn't like a lot of other colonies. It was defined by pure survival. Life was fragile, the winters were absolutely brutal, and making alliances with indigenous nations, that wasn't just a good idea. It was a necessity.
So what happened? Well, the French adapted. They learned, they traded, and the two cultures started to intertwine. A totally unique identity was born out of this, something brand new, a blend of two worlds. But another power was on the rise.
Down south, the British Empire was expanding, and where empires expand, conflict is pretty much inevitable. All through the 18th century, North America became a battleground, with tensions building and building until they finally hit a single explosive point.
In 1759, on the Plains of Abraham, right near Quebec City, the French and British armies met face to face. The battle was fast, it was brutal, and it was decisive. Both commanders were killed, and when they fell, so did New France. This right here, this was the moment Canada was fundamentally split. Because Britain didn't just conquer land, it inherited a whole population with a completely different way of life. Just imagine this. A French-speaking, Catholic people using a European civil law system suddenly being governed by an English-speaking Protestant power that uses British common law. I mean, they were worlds apart.
The British were worried about a rebellion, so they made a very pragmatic choice. It was called the Quebec Act of 1774, and basically it was a compromise. It allowed the French to keep their culture. Now, this didn't merge the two worlds, it legally locked their separation into place, setting them up to exist kind of uneasily side by side.
And right when this fragile balance was being set, history decides to throw another curveball. The American Revolution explodes to the south, and its consequences would come pouring right across the border, making that divide even deeper.
See, thousands of colonists who were loyal to Britain fled the new United States, and they settled in Canada. And they brought with them this fiercely English-speaking, Protestant and pro-British identity, which created a powerful new rival to French culture.
So by 1867, the solution to all this tension was to unite the territories into one country, Canada. But this new confederation didn't erase the division. Oh no. Instead, it built it right into the country's DNA, with two languages, two legal systems, and two core identities right there at its foundation.
For about the next 100 years, this uneasy balance somehow held together. But the 20th century, well, it would push this fragile peace to its absolute breaking point, bringing the country to the very brink of collapse. During the World Wars, the government forced military conscription, and that sparked outrage in French-speaking Quebec. The feeling was captured in this one question: why should they be forced to fight and die for a British Empire that had conquered their ancestors?
This resentment just simmered for decades until the 1960s, when it absolutely exploded into something called the Quiet Revolution. Quebec modernized like crazy, and a powerful nationalist movement was born. For the first time, the question wasn't just about cultural survival, but about actual political independence.
That whole movement led to 2 different votes on independence, and in 1995, the result was this: 49.4% voted to leave Canada.
Just let that sink in. The country was a razor's edge, a single vote in many places away from completely fracturing. This was it. This was the absolute climax of Canada's divided history, the moment 2 worlds almost became 2 separate nations.
But they didn't break apart. And the reason they didn't reveals the real secret to Canada's identity. The country survived not by solving its divisions, but by learning to live with them.
And what this all shows is that being Canadian isn't about having one single simple identity. It's a constant negotiation between English and French, between Indigenous and settler histories, between the past and the present. The nation survives because it embraces its own complexity.